All right, folks, we reached game number 72 in the book. Morphy versus Thompson, fifth match game held in 1859. Morphy given knight odds. That's why the queen knight is missing on B1. All right, Morphy, here he is. He's down 3-1. Thompson taking the first 3 games. Morphy playing birds opening again. It's like a reverse Dutch. Here, Thompson replies with D5. Morphy E3. Here comes the knights, right? The knights, and then Thompson pinning the knight, just like in the last game. And then where Morphy now, he hit the knight with the pawn. Whether it was on move 4, let me make sure here. It was just one game ago, and I can't remember. It's been a while. Yeah, move 4, he hit it with the pawn. Well, this time, like Shredder suggests, he plays the bishop, breaks the pin of the knight with the bishop. And here, Thompson now, he grabs space. Like, let's see. Yeah, he grabs space, I believe. Yup. C5. Before the knight comes out, he plays C5 to kind of control D4. Have more influence in the center. All right, and after that, Morphy castles. And then you have now, Thompson brings the knight out. Morphy developing with B3, going to put the queen bishop on B2. Here we go. E6 by Thompson, and there goes the bishop. Now, folks, if you notice, look at this diagonal, right? You got the pawns on the dark squares there. It's going to be a while for him to want to develop on this diagonal. So Morphy, wise, right? He develops it right here. Now it combines with those pawns, right? Controlling the dark squares in the center. Okay. Thompson develops the bishop to E7. And now Morphy puts the question to the bishop. And sure enough, Thompson wastes no time pulling it back. He takes the knight. Morphy recaptures with the bishop. And here you go. We got a D4 played by Thompson. Now remember, Thompson's up a piece already because of the knight odds. So it's really tough. It's tough for Morphy. He's fighting with a piece down. But here we got let's say he moves over here. You get something like this. Being a piece down, Thompson wouldn't mind trading down. Bring it all the way to the ending. Let's just keep swapping pieces. And then, I'll be up a knight in the end, or a minor piece, however it turns out. He'll be up a minor piece, right? So after D4, Morphy moves his queen to E1. So if he does capture like this, he can easily take back, see, and then he could throw the rook on D1 and take over the D file for the moment anyway. But main thing is that the queens aren't getting traded off. Morphy needs to retain the queen. Now you got to keep when you're down a piece, you don't want to be trading pieces, and you definitely most of the time you don't want to trade your queen off. It's a general rule, you want to keep that power on the board. Try to get the mate. When you go for the attack, you may, even though you're down, you can maybe get a winning attack, checkmate your opponent, even if he has an extra piece. All right, but anyway, so he moves the queen. Not only that, when he moves the queen over, he also has this diagonal if he wants it. He can develop out here. But okay, queen to E1. And now, let's see, okay, move 10, right, folks? Well, the queen comes up. Shredder suggesting the castle, get your king to safety, but here you go, Thompson. Bishop to queen to B6. Developing the queen. And now you got the rook moving. This is a funny move right here. You got the rook moving to B1. Okay, now, it says a curious looking move, which stands white, however, in good stead. All right, the old timers, folks, putting it very poetically, right? Now I don't know. Was there something maybe that bishop on B2 is hanging, right? So like if he was to push here, yeah, he would just lose this for now, I guess. But I don't know if this thought here. Maybe that's why Morphy moved the rook. to take away any type of shenanigans that may come, you know. Plus, he's putting his enemy rook, you know, he's putting his rook against the enemy queen. Tactics could open up, you know, if the B file opens. Well, sure enough, this is what Thompson does. You see Shredder finding the move. Knight coming up to B4. The C2 pawn is undefended, right? Now here you got Morphy playing queen to E2. And I looked at this, folks, for quite a while. And, you know, yeah, Shredder goes in, right? Now, a number of things could be played here. I tried them all, and it seems like black retains the advantage. He could grab this pawn, no big deal. I mean, for instance, the queen comes here like Shredder suggests, right? Going after the knight. Well, the only way to get out is to leap back to B4. All right, you take here, okay? You take on D4. And, all right, Shredder's saying the castle. I think it's going to move the rook to D8. There you go. That's what it did against me when I was looking at this. And, okay, if you take, he takes with the bishop check, I guess, right? He takes bishop check, king over. And then now he could castle. Or do we get to bust up his king side then, right? Does he want to do that? Let's see. He didn't play this way. It's funny how it comes up with different ways of playing it. I mean, if you bust up the king side, you're still a piece down. But I'm just looking like if you can, you know, get your queen over to the. Now you can't even do it. I wanted to get my queen over here, but you can't. He's not going to give you time, right? So you come down here. Takes there, what can we do? I don't know, folks. Yeah, he blocks him out. That's no good. Yeah, we're way behind. I don't see it. I don't see any attack on the light squares over there. It's not going to work. Okay, so let's go back. That's just one way it can go. All right, he would castle. We wouldn't want to take the knight. Maybe we boot this guy first. Let's see what he's doing here. Going after our bishop. Save the bishop. In with the check. Yeah, we got nothing left. We got no attack of any kind. And he's sitting pretty there. He's got his up the piece. So that's losing, right? What was something? Maybe kicking the knight out of there now. Oh, there was this, folks. There was this move, opening up the E file. See, you got the rook. You got the bishop on E7. So now a move like this, right? This stops black from castling, because then he'll hang his bishop on E7. So if he takes here, we come up threatening to double rooks and have this threat. See? Rook over, attacking the queen. The queen moves, and then you take on this. Is supported by the bishop down there. So you're threatening to take on the, you know, the 7th, get your rook to the 7th. Very, very offensive maneuver. But I think the knight coming back to C6 kind of saves. You're not only that, you're threatening the knight with this move. You're threatening to come here and you're forking. You know, you're attacking the queen and hitting the knight. I think he goes back to D6 with the queen, and then you can take here, right? So, like for instance, he does this. I think we could go here. Oh, it's a check. Oh, my fault. Discovered check. All right. He gets this guy down there. Look at this. We could take that. We could take this guy. Now we can't double the rooks because the knight takes us. So I really like if you look at the evaluation, White's still down 3.5. He's down that night. He's down that night he gave in the beginning. Something like this, we could take here. He could trade queens. Now we don't have our queens on the board, so our attack slows down. He's going to try to win this. The c4 pawn, we defend it. He takes, we take back. So he's still up. You know, he's up a whole night. You got 5 pawns to 5 pawns, but yeah. Maybe we could, let's see, where did it go? Maybe we could win that. Can we win this guy? What happens if we take here? Now we have a passed A pawn though. And we launch it, right? We're going to push G5 next. F6 pawn is pinned, right? So he gets out of the pin, else we're going to do this. Let's just make a move here. Let's just say, I'm just going to put the knight there for now. I'm threatening this, see? The pawn can't take because it's pinned. See, so what black does, once you push this G pawn up, he senses that. He moves the king so this pawn isn't pinned anymore. We go here. Yeah, then the knight's going to come in on the attack. So we take him, he takes. And it looks like it's winding down. What about that he wins this one. Alright, we're pretty much toast. He's winning there. So there's other ways, but you know, he comes out of it. He doesn't even have to push this pawn. I've seen this move, and that seems to work. Say we take, he takes back. Alright, we get this pawn. We're going after that pinned bishop on e7, piling up on that guy. Yeah. I don't know. Why not just move? Why not move the king? Let's say we move instead. Gonna come all the way back, or we're gonna take. If the queen takes, we take here with check. Right? Okay, so we would win a pawn. So he decides to take with the king. We give the check here. And we're still down. We're still down. So that doesn't seem to pan out in any way. The knight going back works also. It's just White doesn't have enough, folks. He doesn't have enough. So, you know, all this move is a good idea to try to get the e-file open for your rook, and you play. See, now he can't castle because you just win this. That's what I was saying. So he gives him a little bit of play, but eventually black gets out of it, you know? It works out. Now, if you go here anyway, what happens, right? He moves over. He's going to trade queens. Not good for you. You're down a piece. Look at this. He forks your rook. and the pawn, so you move to protect it. Goes here. Okay, you attack this guy. He gets this guy. You give the check first. King over. Now you capture over here. So you got that passed A pawn again. Notice black's rook on H8 isn't in the game yet. So even though white's down, maybe he can. I'm just thinking that A pawn. Can he get it down there while black's tied up? But I don't think so. I mean, right now this guy's hanging by the rook takes. What if we go if we go here, pinning his rook so he can't take our bishop? He's just gonna trade though. What's great about that? Nothing really, right? What if we went after his? Yeah, there you go. We go after his bishop. He takes ours. We take his. Now we can take that way. What if we take this way and threaten mate there? All right, he makes a hole. See, for instance, if he, I don't know, let's just say he goes here, right? Stupid move. We got a mate, folks. See that? Bishop supports the rook. Okay, but obviously, you take that way, he just makes this escape square on G7. We try to chase the knight. See here, what was the idea of that move? Let's just advance this. I guess he wins that anyway. We can't go because of the knight on C4. We'll just take. So maybe taking like this, since there's no threat really there. We take with the rook that way. So this is still, our rook is on A7 defending the A pawn. We could start marching it sooner. Yeah. I don't know. Now wait a minute. If we take, we can't take. All right, we're in check. He goes there. We take this way. Yep. He's going to get to G7 and protect that rook. All right. Now you're down a piece, and I don't think the king is an attacking piece, folks. He's attacking these knights. He's trying to control the dark squares with his king, so the knights can't get to it. Here comes the pawn. Well, what's sad is you gotta move. What if the king goes here? Well, then he gets forked, and now you lose it, right? So you go after the knight. All right, try something like that. Then he takes there. Why not? Just advance. What happens here? He wins. He wins it for nothing. What am I doing? All right, so he takes with check. Right back. The king's gonna come up. And harass. Let's see though. Let's see. Knights have trouble with the rook pawn. Okay. Now if I go here, he forks, right? And he sacks the knight for it. But he's got 4 pawns against my 2 on the king side, and my king's all the way over there. No way, I lose. So he's just going to sack. He'll just sack his knight for my pawn. There's nothing I can do. You know, now on b4 I can't advance. One, I'm in check. So like even if I go here, I mean it doesn't matter because when I go to advance, he's gonna sack it. All right, and black wins the pawn and king endgame, even though you got captured the last minor piece. So I'll tell you that knight odds, I don't know. I know we took that one pretty far. It was pretty interesting, but it was a little play for white, but it's inevitable. Sooner or later, he runs out of steam, you know. Once they trade, you fork the pawn and the rook. You know, we looked at all that. Okay, so there was another line. Now this is with queen coming up, right? Queen coming up here. Okay, the knight just comes back out and he gets away. Now look at this one. You can try to play a3 to keep the knight from getting out, but then the queen can take on b3. And you think you might have some kind of tactics here. Look, discovery, right? Bishop takes on d4, unleashing the rook on b1, attacking the black queen. But look, when the knight takes here, he's attacking the white queen. All right, so then you take back. Like if you go here and he takes there, you're down. You know, you're still down that knight. You're still down the knight. And look at that. He likes to castle long. Now the king protects b7. Right, so he could try to attack. He's gonna block. He could block with his knight, right? Or there he goes. He protects b7 with the rook. All right, there you go. If he goes like this, what would happen? Would that be a bad move? Yeah, he's still winning. All right, so anyway, so on this, it's best, you know, you're down, but at least you keep the queens on the board. Maybe you could get a mate. Now, he goes here, and you take, right? And what do you got? Look, he takes with check. King over. Could he just castle now? No, he can't. The bishop hangs. Bishop hangs on e7. We talked about that in the other line. All right, so at least he's keeping the black king in the center for now. All right, he moves this guy to safety. Now he's getting ready to castle. Get the check in. So now he can't castle. He moves over. All right, so you get a little something, a little play in this one, but it might not be enough. The king's on the. All right, this is hanging, so you protect that while you can, I guess. He's gonna castle by hand. You bring the rook. Maybe you're coming here, right? Rook up. He challenges your rook on b7. All right, you take. He takes. Now you attack the queen. He gives the check. You come up. You're safe for now. He makes a hole. He's going to get that rook on h8 in the game. You attack the bishop over there. All right. So what's really happening here? What could we do? Anything? Attack the bishop maybe, no? He's got g7. Like if you come down here and you try to give it, he's gonna maybe move the. He's just gonna move the king. So that doesn't go anywhere. He really got nothing. He's fine. He's doing fine. You go after the bishop, he blocks you out. Yeah. So you don't really have it. Black's still in control in that one. Black's still in control. All right. So that's what I don't get. There is a thing about this line though. Watch this. He takes. You play a3. He takes on b3. You try a trick, right? He takes with the knight. You take back, and now he moves queen to a4, right? and then he takes on d4. But look at this. If he was to take here, folks, look, he allows the white queen to check on b5. See that? The right play, right move is queen to a4, stopping that queen check. But if he takes the pawn, if he gets greedy and figures, oh, now I got the A and the B pawns passed, right? Well, here comes the queen with a check, and that's no big deal for the black king, but now the black queen's got nothing. Where does she run to, folks? Could only go here, right? You got the rook on this, on this file, the first rank. So you just harass the black queen. She's got nowhere to go, folks, and it's a draw. You see that? So, little hidden resource there for white in that line. If black is greedy enough to take that pawn on a3, that would be a mistake. See that? King over, rook up. Now, if he goes here, that is a safe square for the queen, but when you takes back, now you lose the rook. See that? So that's why the queen wouldn't dare go to a6. It puts white right back in the game. Matter of fact, I think white's winning now. He's up the exchange. You see how this works, folks? One little slip, you can play great. I mean, heck, he was up a knight from the get-go because of the knight odds. But the point is, you make one little mistake, and that's, I kind of emphasize this throughout this course, is that, if you're playing people under 2,000, they're not going to play the best move every move. They might play a good game, but eventually someone under 2,000, there's usually a doozy in there somewhere, but you might miss it because you're not, you're not trained in the tactics and all the things that you should be seeing. That's what I'm trying to help you, with the tactics here. You see these type of things. Boom. Pawn takes, bishop takes back. Now all of a sudden it's white's game. Matter of fact, look at this. You can simplify even more. Exactly. You come down, you get the rooks off. All right? Now your rook is that much stronger because, as the power leaves the board, your rook, you're the only one with a rook now, right? So you're fighting two minor pieces. Look at this. You get to eat this one up. All right, he moves there. You get to eat this one. You're going to eat that. The A pawn's dead. Look, the A pawn is dead. Now you're hitting the bishop. He's going after your pawn. Now you want to try to retain some pawns because you want those to be future queens, right? Any one of them can be a future queen. All right, so anyway, why not bring the bishop back and let's see, where's he going? Why not bring him over here? What does this do? Anything? He attacks you. All right, anyway, there you go, right? And it's your game to win, right? You're up a pawn and a half. Could be pretty tough, right? But you should be able to pull this one out. So anyway, all right. There you go. Just to mention, that's the mistake, And these are the mistakes your opponents are going to make. And you got to be able to take advantage of it while you can. The mistake being, oh, I'll grab this pawn. I'll have two connected pass pawns on the queen side. And I'm good to go. I'm up a minor piece. And then lo and behold, boom. And it should just be a draw. See? But if he wants to continue playing, he might not even see this. Bam. All right, enough. Let's go back to the game. So, I mean, the point being here is, something like this, if you try a different move, right, you're trying to trap the knight from coming out. So there's one more line I want to show you. So there's this. Now, you can try the tricks, but you might say, well, what if I just use my other rook over here and put some pressure on that knight? Now, he could take this, but Shredder decided to play this against me, hitting my queen. Right, I have to pull back here, I guess, and then he gets out of the pin because right now white's threatening one once he moves his queen to safety, he's threatening a discovery, right? He could take down here. All right, so after this, he moves his queen out of the way, off the b file, right? But then you hang that. Okay, he moves over here. You get the check. He moves over. So again, if you look at the evaluation, negative 3.76. So I mean, he's down that knight that he gave. White didn't get anything. He didn't get anything out of this. He's still down a minor piece. And, he has piece action, but look at this. The knight's coming in. The other knight, I don't know. Now, if you take here, the queen takes. If you take, let's see, if you take this way, though, can't he just take, oh, no, then he wins this guy back. All right. Wow, that's pretty silly, isn't it? Okay, so he can take with the pawn. I was thinking he'd just take like this, He'd just take with the queen. He's still winning that way, but this is cute, huh? You try to win the queen, and then look at this. He gets it right back. He gets it right back. That's silly. Okay, so I mean, white's got nothing here. He's got nothing. So the point is, other than that trap, if he takes here, and if black goes here, he's still up. He's winning the game. He's still winning. If he was silly enough to take this, you got a little trap here. You get away with it. But that's not how you got to play this game, hoping your opponent goes into the trap. You can't play like that, because the good opponents will see that. So, I mean, the point being to all this is that black could have taken on c2 with the knight, but he doesn't. What he does is first he brings the rook over here. Okay, rook to d8, I believe, right? That's move 12. Let's make sure there. Rook to d8. And here now, white pushes this pawn to boot the knight. And here the old masters got it like this. If he takes here, they give queen to d3. And it's as if white's doing fine. He's going to win the knight back. But look at what happens. The rook takes down here. Now, you did win your minor piece back, but heck, look. He takes over there. Now it's an open G file, aiming right at the white king. That rook on G8, aiming down. But let's see he's going after that. He's defending his rook, maybe. I don't know. King over here. So it's close, but still black is still. All right, you double up those pawns over there. Can we challenge that rook? Why not just challenge this guy? He moves out of the way. Oh, they're on. That rook is on. Forgot about the one on G8. They're bearing down on this guy, Luckily, we have our bishop on F3 protecting that spot. So anyway. This is tough. White's tied up. He's still down about 3, folks. -3. He's got the bishop here, but black, look at black's pieces. Centralized knight. He's got those 2 rooks bearing down on the G pawn. So, I don't know. that point, comes down. I mean, he is still hanging in the game, but he's still down quite a bit. Again, to replay this. And he can't trade this guy off for the knight because he's got to protect that. He's got to protect G2. So that's a tough one. He would say like, yeah, this is crazy. See, if he does give this up, I mean, they go in on G2, and you can't like once you attack the knight, you'd love to do this, but again, your queen is hanging, right? You can't move that. You can't move him yet. You don't have the time to do it. What if you do this? Oh, there's a move. Wait a minute. There's a move. How about rook here? Challenging this guy. Right? You got your dark square bishop backing him up. He goes on in. Takes here with check. Now my bishop is pinned. He comes in with the knight. Holy smokes. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see instant replay. Didn't see that coming. He tried to challenge this rook, get him out of there. He advances now. He frees up the E3 square. Right now he's threatening. And he could even come down with his rook. He could take my rook with his pawn. Right, so we got to take. And look at this. He lures my king to G2, which allows the fork. So he takes there. Now he trades on B2. Oh boy. Okay, no good. That was a beautiful shot, right? There's nothing you can do after this move. Matter of fact, wait, even if you take here, he takes and he queens, right? And you're forced to take back. And he comes down and he regains his rook over here. And I mean, you're still down the exchange. You get a check in. Alright, so, I mean, you could grab this pawn. I mean, where does it go from here? You know, where does it go from there? I mean, you're down the exchange. You do have the bishop here, but look, he hits that guy. I guess it's the only square you can go to, because quite frankly, if you go to the only other safe square, he forks you, right? And he picks up the bishop. So he can only go this way, and he can't go here. He can only go here. If he goes here, the knight can trade, right? But he doesn't want to do that. He's just going to go for mate. Look at that. That's the same move no matter where the bishop goes. Now they're bearing down on G2. Don't forget, we got the queen backing up the light square bishop. White's got the light square control, but looks like black's coming in. Good check. He comes up. He did check over here. He's got to block his rook. He goes back on the defense. Else rook takes G2 as mate. Oh no, the rook's blocked by the black king. Alright, so mate and 7. Let's see it. Takes here. Threatening queen to H1 would be mate. And now it's going to be queen to G1 check, king up H3, and then it's this. Look, it's this. Oh, you just did mate in one. Okay, mate in one. I'm looking at this way. You know, you go this way. All right. Very good. Missed that. This is even faster. One move, right? Okay, so he moves. Doesn't even matter. Because he can't stop it, right? If he brings this guy down, this doesn't work because he gets to block it. But then he does the way I found, right? Now it's made that way. So there's nothing he can do. White's dead in the water there. So, all right. There you go. So it doesn't even work. You know, he grabbing the pawn over here is no big deal on B7. Black still got it. All right. So anyway. So now even after this A3, you know, black could go in. He could go in. Now they give another line. They said, let's see. They gave another line. If knight takes pawn, they say, okay, they were saying knight takes pawn, queen up here, right? That's what we were looking at. He takes, unleashing the rook on D8. You take the knight, then the rook comes down, and that's how we got, you know, the last line. But now they're saying if pawn here first, attacking your queen, well then pawn takes pawn, knight takes, and now he's going after your bishop, and you could either pull it back here according to Shredder, or the old master say bishop here. And that's how they left that. I mean, and black is still up. You know, he's still up. And look, he gets the castle, and you know, white would get his king off this diagonal, the enemy queen, right? I don't know, it still doesn't say much for white. What does he have here? Nothing. He's still down a piece. Okay? So, I mean, even after A3, black, let's see, where we rook to D8, even after here, A3, whether black plays this or this, he's winning. But that's not what Thompson does. He brings the knight, he centralizes his knight. Okay, knight to D5. Okay, and now we have king over to H1. Gets off that diagonal. He doesn't like being opposed to the enemy queen, right? So we got this. One takes. And it says here he should have castled, but he is playing for a kingside attack. So he doesn't want to, Thompson doesn't want to put his king over here, because he wants to open the files on the king side and use this rook to combine with the knights and the queen, and you know, maybe the bishop will get into the game and attack the white king. Okay, so he's playing for a king side attack. He takes here, and okay, we take back here. Morphy takes back, and here comes the pawn, right? Question mark. Pawn H5, question mark. Okay, here we go. We got boot that knight out of there. No one likes the centralized knight. Okay, he has to go back to C7. See, not good. The knight was beautifully posted on D5. Well, now you know, and that was allowed because the D pawn. See, we can't boot. Let's see, we can't boot that knight yet because he would take en passant. See, that D pawn would stop us from booting that knight out. But once, let's see, he goes here, right? That was move 14. After he takes, right, we take back, we're allowed to move that C pawn up. Okay, he launches this, okay? Black should have castled here, like we said. He should have castled, he was doing fine. Okay, but instead he goes on the offensive. H5, we boot that knight. Now the knight goes back, retreats with his tail between his legs, right, to C7. Now we push this, the exclamation point. Look at this one. Now he takes. Morphy takes back. Now, what happens if he takes like this, right? Well, that's what he does. That's what he does. What if he takes with the queen, right? We take here, we unleash our rook on b1, right? Some of these ideas we were talking about in the other line when the knight was up here on where was that, on c2. The knight was up here on c2. The knight was over here, right? He was wedged in. He took on c2. The queen was on b3. We had lines where we had a discovery, right? Bishop takes over here. But okay, he takes the knight. He gets a free piece, folks. You see this? All right, he wants to go after our queen. Big deal. We take. He has to take back. No time to grab our bishop over here. And there you go. And now we got away. We grabbed our piece back. And what are we looking at? We got the bishop here. He's bearing down on our g2 pawn again with those rooks. But much better position for us now. Queens are off. And we got our rook bearing down on b7. Right? He's going to challenge us. We would just trade those off. Now we can take on b7. We're threatening to take on a7. Matter of fact, we're threatening maybe to come down with a check and win this guy. I mean, he'd have to block, right? If we just do this, we take the knight. Hey, why not just take the knight, right? This, he just blocks, right? That's what. But, okay, so he defends this one. He defends him that way. And there you go, right? We're gonna double on the 7. See this? We're coming down, folks. We're threatening to win that knight. Like if we come here, the knight's pinned, right? Alright, he traded him off. We won the A pawn. We won the B pawn. We're clearly winning now. Now we're almost +3, right? We got to pass C pawn. Alright, so anyway. Yeah, that would be good. He can't take with the queen, folks. He can't take with the queen. That's the basic point of this, right? You got a free move with that bishop. And you take the knight after they trade queens. There you go. Your bishop could run, do what it wants, right? And you get away. You steal a piece. You steal that knight on f6, and you even it up. So, after this, Thompson takes with the bishop. He takes with the bishop on b4. And get this, Morphy, bishop to d4, attacking the queen. Now, Thompson does like Shredder, gives up his rook, he gives the exchange back. You know, not that he gives it back, but he is up a piece. He feels, I'll still be up. I'll just, he'll trade like this, okay? And now Morphy would have two rooks. This is what Thompson does, okay? He has gives Morphy the 2 rooks. But, basically, Thompson has 2 knights for the rook. You can see it on the board. That's the easiest way to explain it, right? He's got the 2 knights for a rook. So Morphy's right back in this game. Matter of fact, let's see. He's still a little down, but, I mean, heck, folks, he's coming back, right? The momentum. Look, after this, you might say, well, why not bring the queen here? You got to defend. You can't abandon your bishop, right? You can't abandon him. You can't, I mean, heck, you can't move over here. You either got 2 squares, this one or this one, right? If he goes here, we can double up. You go here like this, double attack on here, and we're threatening to take the knight, I think, on f6. Right, if he goes back here, what do? We just come down, we win this pawn. Right, he still wants to take that one. Because we're threatening to win. We're going to win, well, heck, I think we're going to move the rook over. Wait a minute. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, we're going to move the rook over. The queen's got nowhere to go, right? He'd have to go here. It's the only safe square. He could go over here. But then he loses the knight. See, he's got to stay in contact with that knight on c7. Right, so he'd have to, let's see. If he goes here, he loses the knight also. So there is no safe square. Yeah, it would win the piece back, folks. Alright, so They got that right. Let's check that out again. We go there. We're threatening the rook. We're threatening the rook over. Do a silly move. How about this? Look, if he castles, that seems like a good move, right? Well, now we still do this. Look, the queen's going to move. He cannot defend the knight. Where could he go? He goes over here, right? You take the knight. Plays this. Get out of there. All right, so we're back in it. We're back in it. Matter of fact, now we're up the exchange. Right, he takes here. We take over there. Discovered attack on the queen. He goes there. Well, we're up now. White's up, right? It's a little long-winded, but hey, we've done it before, right? So, at that point, they trade. Bishop takes. Bishop d4 is the move. Queen to a5 doesn't work. Queen to b2. Let's say if he goes here, defending that knight, that same knight, right? All right, we take on b7. He wants the castle. Now we move our rook over. Okay, now the knight is defended. He can go here because his bishop is protected. We go this way. He takes that way. We come down. We're threatening that knight again. And the knight has nowhere to actually run but here. And we attack the bishop. Here it's pretty even, folks. Pretty even. Look at this. We got our pawn rolling. Look at the bishop supporting this. Supporting this pawn. We're threatening that bishop. Already trades. Takes there. Here comes the pawn. No. Knight comes out. Double up on the 7th. Crazy. We're doing it quick, folks. Maybe black could hold on here, but you definitely see a difference in the play here. White's doing pretty good. He takes with the pawn. He doesn't want to take with the knight and let the rook start gobbling these pawns up, right? So he takes with the pawn. And it looks like white is down. He's got the 2 rooks. He's got a rook for 2 minor pieces, right? So it's pretty even here. This looks like it might be a draw. He's threatening d4. Knight takes d4, I think. That's a check move, right? You can't take here. You can't take here, folks, right? Because, well, he takes your bishop, but look. Yeah, I guess this isn't good for black. Because he gets the 2 minor pieces for the rook. And we got that C pawn over there, protected past pawn, folks. Now black's losing. Look at the evaluation. It looked like it pretty much was a draw. But now you see white takes it over here. He takes over. So he goes here maybe. Defend that d pawn. Attack the d5 pawn. He's on the defensive now. All right. So anyway, you know, could go many ways. That definitely puts white back in it, though. You know, he puts him back in it. He gets some good play there. Gets those pawns. He picks up those pawns. He's got a pass C pawn. See if he uses this rook. Goes after that one. You start marching the pawn up. Is it any different? It's a fight. It's a fight, you know. White's back in the game, so that's no good for black. It puts him back in the game, basically. So bishop back's no good either. So there's also, on this move, there's also queen to d6, right? And all right, we go here, we attack the queen, he moves, we take here, and if he takes back, then we win this one, right? So we get our piece back. See that? So he would try some. Let's see. If I took there, he would come down. Queen moves. Let's see, what's this about? He would open the H file. Queen up. We win this one. Again, if the queen takes, we take with the. If he takes here, we take with the rook, right? And the rook defends on b7. So he protects his bishop. We go back. He moves up like this. He takes there. Does he win the pawn? All right. And what do we got? He's still up. Oh no, let's see. It's pretty close now, right? Let's see. We got 2, 4, 2, 4, 5. He's got that past A pawn, so black's still slightly better. Now he's coming in on the dark squares. All right. He's going to win the F pawn, I guess. He takes here. We're going to threaten to check and then push the pawn. See? And we got c8 covered by our bishop, so we're going to queen. Right? So he'd have to give us his bishop to stop that pawn from queening. But what he does, let's see. So when he takes there, king up, pawn up, now he's challenging the rook before it could come down. And if we trade, then the king covers c7. See that? All right, so we go after this one. He defends it. He blockades the pawn and defends a5. It looks like black's a little better here. I mean, but they're bishops of opposite colors, so this could be a draw. I don't know. King activates. He comes out. I don't know, folks. The rooks are still on the board. But anyway, I'll show you what Thompson does. After bishop takes, bishop to d4. The queen doesn't move. He just sacks his rook. He gives the exchange to Morphy. Right? Rook takes bishop. Pawn recaptures. And now you have pawn up. Okay, oh, wait, is that right? No, not this one. This one. To protect the bishop. That's what it is. To protect the bishop. And now you got Morphy playing c5, attacking the queen. All right, she slips into a7. So she's out of the game over there. And now Morphy centralizes his queen, taking over, the center of the board, attacking that knight. All right, the knight hops into d5. And Morphy chops it off. He gives up the bishop, but look, the knight recaptures. The e6 pawn is pinned. So he's got to recapture, but now he can go in and grab the g pawn, attacking the rook. Okay, the bishop, dark square bishop, queen, totally out of reach. They can't help that rook in any way. Rook retreats to f8. Now you got to rip it open. f5, folks, right? The black king, remember, didn't castle. Thompson tried to go on the attack, on the offensive with h5. Well, now he's paying the price. His king is stuck in the center. f5, and you got, let's see, queen. Okay, the queen comes up to recapture, right? If he takes, That's what Shredder's saying to do, to take. But Morphy brings his queen back up. Maybe he's going to check down here. Now it's, okay, he hits the queen, and it's creating another escape square, so that if he does check, well then, I guess he could go here, or I don't know, would he go there instead? Either one. Okay, but he's chasing the queen out of there with f6. But the queen now goes back to g3. Okay. And we got this move over here by Thompson. Queen to c6. And it says Black's game is hopeless after Morphy's admirable series of moves beginning with his 16th. Okay? Let's just go back and look. I got to see that. With his 16th move. Well, it's going back a while. Oh, okay. Here it was with pushing that knight back. See? Then playing this, opening it up. Bishop takes. Now the bishop attacks the queen. Now Thompson feels compelled to give the exchange up to stop the bleeding, I guess, right? The Morphy's momentum. Now he could castle here, but instead, what did he do? He protects the bishop. We push the pawn, right? Or I should say, Morphy pushed the pawn. Now the queen has to go to a7, out of the game. Here comes the white queen. Knight leaps in where it looks good, but it allows him to take on g7 now after the exchange on d5. Morphy's queen comes right in, attacking the rook. Rook over. f5, ripping it open. See, he's ready to recapture. If he goes here, he's ready to recapture, right? Now, if Black was to take with the pawn, well, now you got rook takes rook mate, folks, right? Can't have that. So that's, I'm just saying, so he would be ready to take back with the queen, okay? But now Morphy doesn't take. Morphy doesn't take the pawn. He actually moves his queen back, and then Thompson hits that queen with f6. All right, now Morphy doesn't want to do something like this just to win a pawn, right? Because then they trade queens. And I mean, now it's tough. I mean, the Black's got the 2 minor pieces for the rook, and the attack is totally dead, really. It's gone. With the queens, it's a little awkward for Black. Morphy's, let's see, after this f6 move, he doesn't give the check like Shredder suggests. He actually moves the queen back to g3. And Thompson moves his queen to c6. Says here, Black's game is hopeless after Morphy's admirable series of moves beginning with his 16th. With his 16th. Sorry, folks. Here we go. Look, let's go back to the 16th. That's when the, I think b4 was played, right? Oh, wait, starting with c4, knocking the knight back, and then pushing b4, right? They trade, bishop takes, bishop d4, attacking that queen. All right, Thompson feels compelled to trade the rook, give up the exchange. All right, Morphy takes back. Now a5 to protect that bishop. c5, hitting the queen to a7, where she's out of the game. Morphy centralizes his queen, attacking the knight on c7. It leaps up, but no good, because now once they trade on d5, Morphy comes in grabbing the g-pawn, wins the g-pawn, attacking the rook. Rook has to go to f8. Queen back. Oh, no, f5. Now the queen comes up in case they trade. No, not like this. Like we said, there goes the mate. If he goes like this, okay, well, I'll show you what would happen. I'll show you what does happen. Well, he doesn't take. Instead, Morphy brings the queen here. And now, with f6, chasing the queen back, she goes back. And now, queen to c6, and get a load of this. Morphy takes. And this is why you're going to see queen to g3, Morphy's queen to g3, why he played it there. Look at this. If he takes, folks, you see what happens? Rook over, pinning the black queen to the king. Now, yes, you got the bishop, but you got the other rook protected by the queen on g3. So you'd end up winning that queen, right? You win the queen and bishop for the two rooks. And that's good. The way, especially in this position. Here you go. Look, you attacked it. I guess b7. Right? Maybe you swing down there for some reason. Let's see what's going on. Alright, he protects his knight. Okay, now you're coming from that side, right? Well, why not take on b7? I guess because he can block with his knight. Okay, he blocks with his knight. I guess you go this way. Now the king's going to move. You want to go there? f8, huh? Alright, I didn't really look at this. He goes to f8, and then you take there. You're attacking the knight, but the rook's got it defended. Okay. Pushing his pawn, but when you attack it, how's he going to save it? How's he going to save that a pawn? I don't think he can, right? There you go, right? So you pick them apart. I mean, you're up +5. It's the queen against rook and knight, but you got those two pawns now. You eat up black's b pawn and a pawn like nothing, right? Black's totally his king is exposed, so you get all these checks, all these forking possibilities with your queen, right? And you pick them apart. Alright, so there you go. That's why queen to g3. Amazing, right? Morphy's able to take. Thompson can't even recapture that pawn. Now what he does is he blockades it. He brings his knight down. But now that takes away escape squares for the king. Look at this. Look at this. The black king can't go anywhere now, right? So Morphy throws the check in now. And you got queen trying to block, begging to exchange queens here. If you were to do something like this, it totally slows down the white attack, right? I mean, there is nothing left. There's nothing left of this. Look at the evaluation. Look, 0.41. Right before this move, where were we? Not that much better, huh? 0.76. Well, anyway, okay. He doesn't want to trade. He doesn't want to trade. What he does is he brings the queen up to d6. Okay, and now we got Thompson. Again, let's trade queens, right? Well, that's a losing move now, folks. You see Schrader, look at the evaluation. Look at this. I mean, this is the best that he can do, right? h4 still keeps him in the game, though. But okay, anyway, let's go to what Thompson does. And now you see the total. He falls off a rock, off a cliff. He falls off a cliff like a rock. I don't even know how to put it. I mean, look at the evaluation right here. 0.85, right? And now look, this move, boom, 7.02 in white's favor, right? White was up slightly there, 0.85 in white's favor. Then, boom, just falls off the cliff, right? Here you go. You see it. Schrader sees it. You take the bishop, and what's so great about that? Well, when he takes back, you swing the other one over, and you're threatening a back rank mate. You're threatening mate. Look, folks, what are you going to do? Here comes the rook, right? He goes there. I mean, heck, you get the pawn push. Look at this. Because the queen, you can't take now because the queen takes back and you're good. Black gets back in the game. But look at this simple pawn push, right? The queen cannot defend the knight anymore. If she moves, it's mate, right? So, if you try to buy time by taking, well, pawn takes back, taking over the dark squares, folks, right? What could he do? The knight's hanging. The knight can't move. It's pinned. The rook can't help. It's on the other side of the board, and the king's in the way. He can't step up. He can't step up because of these pawns. So he goes to defend his knight, and he falls to a pawn fork. He falls victim to a pawn fork. Now he's got to get back over to kill the potential queen, right? I mean, if you take here, you get the queen, you take out that rook, he's got to kill it. But then you go there, right? You pick up the knight, you win that way. More accurate is to check first, right? And then you pick up, okay, now you're queen, and your rook defends the queen, right? That's the more accurate way to win. But, I mean, either way, you win. Now, crazy, right? How Morphy gets these positions, unbelievable. You'll get them, too, because your opponents, if they're under 2,000, folks, they're not going to be making the most accurate moves. And in this case, that's what Thompson falls victim to. He doesn't find the best moves, so Morphy punishes him because of it. There you go. The check comes down right now. If we just pushed H4 to see what's threatened, right? Even by blocking. Amazingly, D5 is the move, and black can do nothing. He's got to either move his queen out, and then rook takes knight is mate. Or if he trades, it sets up a scenario where the king can't get off this, back rank. The rook's no use, and the knight is pinned. Saves the knight, but he falls victim to the pawn fork. Okay, so let's take back the silly move, A4, right? What does he do at this point? If he tries to, let's say he goes here, right? He's threatening. Queen takes G2 mate. He's going to try to beat him to the punch, right? Can't do it. Look, rook checks, okay? The knight goes to block. Well, now I'll take the queen, thank you. He takes back. Now I take the rook. Check. Only square to go to is E7. He can't step here. He can't defend his rook because of the pawn controlling F7. So he's got to come to E7, and then there you go. Rook takes rook. Big deal. He takes your pawn. Big deal. You're up the rook, folks. You won that one, right? And if right after this move, just like in the other line, if he just takes the queen right away, okay, you just take back. And there you go. Look, he can move. But notice the king can't get out of the check. See, the king can't move up because of these two pawns side by side. These two pawns side by side take away these squares, right? Sorry. They take away these squares, right? The king can't come up. So the rook checks. Already could block it, but pawn fork, right? Pawn fork, folks. He gets out. All right, we want to go that way. We take the rook out. Okay, and then the knight's dead too. Because look, we got a queen. See, we go this way. I mean, either way's winning, right? Either way's winning. He's going to give his rook up for it. The other way, we take the rook out. Let's get him off the board. He recaptures. He's got to take our queen, right? And there you go. We just recapture. And that's it. Okay, this keeps the black. Oh, look at this guy. Look at him going. Making a run for it, folks. Making a run for it. 2 moves. Is he going to make it? He goes there, we take, right? Rook covers D1, and we're good to go. And it's check move. How about that? See that? All right, we win there. Okay, so there's nothing he can do, right? So, let's see. After rook to A1, Thompson resigned. There's nothing that he could do. Amazing position at the end. I know it wasn't forced. Morphy got a little lucky with Thompson's inaccurate moves. But hey, he was there to capitalize on it. He made the most of it. And that's what you got to do to your opponents when they make mistakes. Okay? Everybody makes mistakes. It's the way we are. And we're human, right, folks? Nobody's a machine. And even this shredder program makes mistakes. Okay? So it analyzes a million moves a second. What are you going to do? It still makes mistakes. We're all full of them, right? That's what makes this game fun. Heck, if nobody made mistakes, every game would end in a draw, and it would be a boring thing, wouldn't it? Boring life. All right, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. Full of beautiful stuff. More tactics to add to your bag. And we'll catch you next time. That's 2 for Morphy, right? He won 3. Thompson won the first 3. Morphy takes the last 2. So he's making a fight. Can he tie it up next round? We're going to have to find out. Stay tuned to Morphy's Games of Chess. All right, catch you later.